the focus is something is extremely important, even more than intelligence now. Now that's where we are across all industries, even in the spiritual world. They have this thing called sense of urgency. Do some of the exercises that actually gives you some sort of brain training, what I call it, to develop great focus. There are certain exercises. Body has a clock, isn't it? It's called circadian clock. Hi guys, so welcome back to another episode. This is a hot topic, much requested and much needed, actually much timely topic. Focus, how to develop focus. Before I share some really practical tips, I must share that where we are at present, 2023, is something that the focus is something is extremely important, even more than intelligence now. Now that's where we are. Now I actually never thought in my life, when I was a teenager, that I will ever do a video talking about developing focus and talking down on technology. Because as a little kid, all I did was fantasize about how technology is going to be incredible and how the futuristic world looks like, etc. Now come to 2023, I actually feel like technology, all these gadgets, all these stimulations, little thing that actually hampers our growth as humanity, as human beings. Because as human beings, if we lose focus, if we lose attention, that's where we go backwards. We actually defile as human beings. The consciousness, the mindfulness that we talk about in spirituality, right? So the focus, therefore, is absolutely important. And that's why I'm saying, repeating, its focus is more important than even your intelligence. I've seen so many intelligent people. I hang out with them a lot for training, coaching, all sorts of discussions, etc. So even the top level executives, CEOs, directors, they have attention issue now. I go sit with them, have a conversation. It's actually quite a challenge for me to have like a half an hour, 40 minutes conversation now, because they have all this stimulation surrounding them. They have the smart watches to smart phones to all sorts of gadgets, sending them notification, and they said, excuse me, I need to, and they don't have the attention. So when I speak to adults, they say, oh, the youth, the Gen Z, they don't have attention. But guess what? Everybody has this problem. And yeah, speaking of Gen Z, they have one of the things that's going to haunt them for the rest of their lives is because they've grown up, actually they're born into this technology, right? So, and the social media is also a culprit. The way the social media apps have developed, especially things like stories, the little 30-second, 40-second TikTok videos to reels, to all sorts of things, giving like a very, very quick bite of information. Now you're so used to it getting in 30, 40, 15 seconds, etc. So when we say like, okay, come here for 90 minutes, deep dive session, then you struggle. So that's why for your sake, for your business sake, for your skill sake, you really need to prioritize how you develop your focus. So let me share some of the practical tips that actually worked out for me in my personal life. I've shared with so many as well, and actually working for them perfectly as well. So one of the things that you got to do when you have a big task in hand, this is for important tasks. Let's say you have an exam to study. Let's say you have an important project that you need to finish. Let's say you have a sports or something that's something really important coming your way in about 2-3 weeks time, 3 months time, 6 months time, 1 year's time, etc. One of the things that you need to do is add this thing called sense of urgency. Sense of urgency. All the successful people that I've met across all industries, even in the spiritual world, they have this thing called sense of urgency. When they want to attain something, they have like a whole different level of focus, level of seriousness, attention. So with a sense of urgency. They don't nickel and dime with time. So one of the things that the average people do is they think that we have enough time. Oh, it's 1 year away. Oh, we got 2 weeks to do. I can do something and last minute I can chuck it. So you diminish the quality of your work. And in the process, you actually spike up your stress level. You hamper your health as well. So instead, what you need to do is identify the goal, whatever the goal is, and then have the habit of reverse engineering it to 6 months goal, to 1 month, to 1 week, to 1 day, to 1 hour. Get a chunk of 1 hour. So then you know, okay, for that task to be fulfilled, I must do this task, and I only have this, let's say 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. today, I only have this time. If I go beyond this time, which means I won't be able to fulfill this task. So the delusion of thinking that I have enough time, and you make these calculations with actually very, very ill-informed, because you actually don't know what's going to happen in the future. Right now, probably some terrorist is cooking something to bomb the entire city. Some pandemic, some asteroid or something, a world war or something, a political, economical drama is going to happen. Life's going to happen. You might get food poisoning, which happened to me a few weeks ago. And it's going to slow or probably take you completely out of work for next 3, 4, probably 2 weeks. So don't ever think that, okay, we got 6 months and we definitely have 6 months. More likely we'll never have that 6 months. Drama is going to happen. Life is going to happen. So for all that sake, it's really, really important that you add this beautiful characteristic called sense of urgency. It's a really good elite level of behavior that I've seen in incredible characters since I was a kid. So the moment I add this sense of urgency, the focus actually was inevitable. It was really easy to bring onto the table because you have a sense of urgency. So when you tell your subconscious that you have a sense of urgency, like you're urgent, you urgently need to do this. And then your whole system, your body, mind and spirit calms down, and they know it's something urgent and you're about to lose something if you don't do this. So they block out, biologically, psychologically block out everything else. So I want to incorporate that sense of urgency and crack on for probably next 60 minutes, 90 minutes in the work. And then take a break and come back again. And the second element that I'd like to introduce is prepare your environment. So a lot of people don't have the environment to do something important. See, all the things that you see, let's say the distractions, for instance, you want to watch TV, movies, etc. We have an environment. Listen, you have a TV. It's in a lounge, in a cozy couch, right? And tea, coffee, food, and the entire environment is set for you to watch the TV. You go to a pub, it's the same thing. You go to so many things that actually made to distract you. They actually created that environment that for you to settle down and calm down and feel comfortable. So why don't you bring those elements to the most important task you want to do? Make that environment in a way that's very conducive, very easy for you to settle down, very tempting, tasty for you to settle down. And one of the things is, for instance, now you can have, in this age of people are working from home and people are working remote, so prepare your environment. Let's say you grab a table and chair, and one of the things that I would really suggest you to do is, a lot of the people what they do is they place the table facing a wall, a very passive wall. So it's a very, very close distance. In that distance, what happens is it creates exhaustion in your eyes very, very quickly. It's unappealing, right? So what you need to do is, if you want to stick around there for long, I would suggest place that table where some sort of window eye where you can see there's a view of a garden or something. Okay, so then your eyes, so as you read, or as you write, type, study, experiment, whatever you do, you just have to look away for a few seconds and your eye calms down. Right, so that's one of the things that actually worked out for me perfectly. And then also make that place minimalistic. Don't chuck everything there. In your table, you have your clothes, you have your gadgets, you have your bags, you have everything on the table. So it's very, very unappealing, distracting. So you have lots of things that you scatter your attention. So keep it minimalistic. Steve Jobs is actually very, very popular for everything, keeping really, really minimalistic. Apparently his office was just a white table and white walls and up and down ceiling, everything was pure white and nothing was there. Just him and a piece of paper and a pencil, that's it. And it created wonderful things. So keep it minimalistic. So that's something that you helping yourself to create that environment, and you help yourself to delete and distort the distractions, and your sooner or later you focus on the one thing that is important to you. And also, grab your favorite cup of tea, cup of coffee, maybe a couple of cookies, water. Keep the stuff and wear something comfortable. Right? So make that environment really comfortable, appealing, and tempting you to go and sit down and pay your attention for that task. And then what happens is, now you prepare this, you have a sense of urgency, you prepare the environment, you grab a cup of coffee, and you know the next 90 minutes I'm going to do this, right? And that's the moment you started remembering all the other important things that you have to do in your life. That happened to me multiple times. Oh, I've got to make this very important phone call. Oh, I've got to do this. I've got to finish that book. I've got to visit this place, etc., etc. All those things started surfacing because you created a very zen environment, and all the things that important was latent, dormant in you started surfacing as well. This is actually quite distracting thing. So a lot of the time I've seen a lot of people told me, look, you know what, I went there, sat down, everything is good. All I did was really distracted about 10, 20 things that I have to do, and for the next 6 months, all the things that he was guilty of not doing. So the trick is, as those distractive, seemingly important tasks popping up, have a separate paper, not the phone, a paper, pen and a paper, and write that down. Okay, I've got to call this person. Okay, I've got to visit this monastery. I've got to do this yoga retreat. I've got to do these, all those things. I got the things. List it down, and with the promise, I'm definitely going to do it soon after this task. So then, as you practice this, your whole being understand that you're actually someone who's actually promising and delivering what the promises. You actually do what you promise. So the subconscious mind eventually actually slow down drastically, distracting you. It knows that you're going to do it. So you need to be sincere. You need to be honest when you're doing this. Okay? So that's one of the things, because otherwise what's going to happen is you write things down, and then you get the focus and you do that task and you throw that paper away. And very soon your whole being understand what you do is something insincere. You've been tricking yourself. And then as a result, this practice is not going to work out in the long run. So you got to cross off at least 1 or 2 tasks that you actually promised that you're going to do. So that works perfectly if you're actually going to do this. And the next one is time. Doing the task, one task, a very important task, at the same time, at least most of the week. There's something called time remembers. Time remembers. Now, our body has a clock, isn't it? It's called circadian clock. So we wake up at a certain time, we feel drowsy, we feel sleepy at a certain time, we feel hungry for breakfast at a certain time, we feel hungry for lunch at a certain time. Right? So all those things happen because our body has a clock. And we actually train that. If you go really back into the history, we didn't have something called breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's actually a concept that we kind of practice after we become civilized, seemingly civilized. And then we started imposing that you got to have breakfast, you got to have lunch, and you got to have dinner. And you train your body. Now you feel hungry. The thing that you call the lunchtime, thing that you call the breakfast and the dinner, etc. So the body remembers time. So pick a time that you can actually really focus on a certain time, and you don't have to do anything else. Now you should know, it can't be inconsistent. Like today you do at 5 a.m., tomorrow you do at 7 a.m., the next day you do at 7 p.m. It doesn't work like that. You have to have that commitment. You have to have that discipline, a seriousness and aggressiveness. I've got to do this at 5 a.m. every single day, or whatever the time that you pick. And as you practice that, give it a 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 1 month later, your body slowly picks up, okay, this is the clock. This is a certain clock that this guy put into this work, and it remembers that. So as a benefit, as a reward, it actually is so easy for you to pay attention because your body now suddenly supports you. Right? Sometimes I walk in to the meditation or for my gym workouts or to create a content or study something, research, etc., etc. I have certain times that I've blocked out. I don't even know that I went there, sat down and started doing it because your body remembers that. So that's actually going to be enormous power, a compounding factor, to be honest, as you practice it for years and years. If you haven't done that, pay attention and then block out a time. So forget about doing 10 things. Just pick for the next, let's say 30 days. Pick up one thing that you want to do, very, very, very important, probably reading a book or whatever. And then block out a time, at least 6 days a week, and go at for the next 30 days and see how your body actually supports you. So these are the things that I want to share, and these are very practical elements that you can put in use right away. And so the thing is, guys, going forward in this new world, and we are getting sophisticated by the day, the most important that you remember is the one who's going to be successful, one who's going to be wealthy, one who's going to be an expert is the one who has the best focus. So another thing that you need to incorporate is do some of the exercises that actually gives you some sort of brain training, what I call it, to develop great focus. There are certain exercises that actually gives you tremendous support to develop your brain, your body, mind and spirit to enhance the quality of your focus. Now these are things that I found out. For example, chess. I haven't played chess in a long while. And if you start playing, if you're playing chess and if you want to pick up that, what is that, a sport? I don't know, what is it called? So start playing chess. And it actually gives you tremendous amount of practice for you to be sharp, because you need to beat someone else is thinking critically to beat you. So that's a great thing to pick up. It's easy, right? You order a chessboard, you don't need a place, you just need one person. I wouldn't suggest doing it computer and your phone, like some of the guys do that. I would actually want you to do it physical, because it's called multisensory. Your whole body needs to incorporate that for these to register in your system. And the second thing I would suggest, archery, something that I did recently. Archery actually needs tremendous dose of focus for you to be successful in shooting that arrow, even to land in anywhere in that board. At the beginning, I suck to like nobody else. My arrows, I couldn't even see where it's going. I had to go and explore where my arrows landed for the first 1 hour. And then I started focusing, and then slowly started landing on that board, and then you started bringing it to the center, and then you think, oh, okay, I got this, and then again this arrow goes somewhere else, because this tiny subtle movement from here, or your eyes or chin or nose or something that you make, tiny subtle movement, it affects the trajectory of the arrow. So if you can pick up this sport, I think it's incredible. If you at least you can do it once in a while, it actually show the quality of your focus. So you train your brain in a very physical way. And the third one is something that I've done since I was a kid, is martial arts. So boxing, for instance, if you put your gloves on, another person put his gloves on, and you spar, and you have to really focus, isn't it? Because if you distract yourself thinking about something that you need to do, you're going to get punched across your face. So that's another thing that actually improves your focus very well. Another thing I would add is bouldering, or otherwise known as rock climbing. Now you can do trekking, climbing, but rock climbing is actually at a whole different level. You cannot be thinking a million other things. You can't even think two other things when you're doing serious rock climbing, because your life is in line, and you've got to pay so much of attention in the middle of that rock, and you are halfway there, and you got to go up or you have to go down. You cannot think about other things. So you really incorporate your body, your mind, focus, and brain. That's another thing improves your focus. Another one would be wrestling, again, martial arts. So I've seen, like when you're doing jiu-jitsu, you can't actually think about who's around you. You can't even focus on if this person is bigger than me, stronger than me. Even that you got to drop when you're doing wrestling. You got to focus on what's within your control and what's within your control only. You need a tremendous amount of focus to survive there. Otherwise, someone's going to choke you out. Another one would be rich man's sport, but it's an incredible sport, to be honest, golf. I actually underestimated this sport. I didn't even like it since I was a kid, because I thought it's boring. But then I started doing it. I thought, wow, this is amazing. No wonder all the top directors, top CEOs around the globe play golf, because it's really optimize your focus. It de-stress you, detach you from everything else. Few good things happen there as well in the golf range, because you had to play that long range shot, and you have this beautiful green fairway. You take that walk early in the morning, so you get to walk, you get to breathe fresh air and a beautiful view, and some bunch of pretty driven bunch of guys surrounding you. And as you come after 18 or 9 holes, your breakfast is ready. So all those good things are there. That's why it's sort of an addictive sport as well. But what I realized was this golf actually really develops you and also humbles you. So you can't just think about something else, and you can't be expert ever. You can play a perfect shot now. The very next second, you're going to look like a dumbass because you just got distracted for a split second. That's another sport that I would recommend if you can afford to do it. So these are some of the things that I would suggest you to do. And there are so many sports, guys, but these are things that I show that really challenge you to develop your focus. And if you can incorporate that, that's going to be very helpful if you want to transfer into something else. So this is what it is, guys. So put into use. I really want you to put into use and leave a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know what works out for you, and let us know what hit you the most in the video. And remember, moving forward in this very techie, sophisticated world, the difference is going to be between the haves and have-not. Difference is going to be between the expert and average is the difference of your focus. How better the quality of your focus will determine whether you're going to be a champion of your field. So I'll leave it there. So thanks for watching, and speak to you soon in another video. Live with spirit.